Please be seated. The chamber will continue listening to the testimony of the witness. Good afternoon, Mr. Aikun. We will proceed with your examination, so please listen to the questions by the prosecution and respond to them. Mr. Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I hope you've had an opportunity to rest. I will proceed with my questions, and may I ask you to respond to the questions as honestly and as accurately as possible. Before the lunch break, we talked about a re-education office that was at Angroka, at approximately 300 meters from the district office. Do you know who was in charge of that re-education office? Who was the cadre who headed that office? Answer. It was Meng. I do not know whether he is still alive, nor do I know where he resides, because since August 1978, I have never seen him again. You said a while ago that Wo, who was working in the district office, was a cadre of the militias in charge of arrests. Did Wo often work with Meng with regard to that re-education office? Answer? Yes. Trucks were transporting supplies, including fish sauce that had to be distributed to cooperatives. So did it with Meng. And as regards arrest and re-education per se, in the office very close to Angroka, did Wo often go to see Meng, for instance, regarding such security matters? Do you know about that? I saw him with my own eyes. When there were cases of misconduct in the village, the perpetrators of such offenses were arrested and sent to the districts, and the district would arrest those persons and send them to the office where Meng was working. Thank you. You said that re-education at that place lasted for 3 to 6 months. Did you ever hear people in the district office or militias say that people who were sent for re-education under Meng were transferred elsewhere or were executed? Did you ever hear of that? No, that is not true. Because at the end of the period of a month and a half, the prisoners were told that they had been properly corrected and they would be released and sent back to their villages of origin. So none of the prisoners there were executed. Question, did you yourself see those prisoners again subsequently? Did you see them being sent back to their homes? After 1979, did you get in touch with any of them, for instance? No, I did not see any of them. Question, did you ever hear of Office 204 in Tramkak district? Answer, I never heard of Office 109. I do not know where it was found. Let me repeat, I talked of 204, Office 204, not Office 109. Does the Office 204 ring a bell to you? Answer, yes, I knew about that office. Inhabitants who were redistributed in the villages and cooperatives were detained in that office, in that prison, and they had to do work clearing, and that lasted up to 1979. They didn't have much to eat there. Many people died of malnutrition. Office 204 was called Prek Dupt. That place was very far from other cooperatives and other places. Question. Yes. Did you hear that in addition to dying because of malnutrition, people who were detained there were killed? Answer, no, never. The people detained there died and no one buried them, so they died like beasts, like animals. Question. I'm talking of the period from April to May 1977. So we can say that at the end of the dry season in 1977, do you recall whether during that period there came a time when former officers and civil servants of the Lon Nol regime were again targeted? Did they try to identify them and assemble them? Answer, no, they were not assembled at any location. Officers were identified and sent to a cadre of the district, and there was a work group that welcomed them when they arrived at night, and if they arrived during the day, they were also welcomed during the day. They worked 24 hours round the clock. Question. So it was a period of intense work in the district office, if I understand correctly. Why then, during that period, was there that wave of identification of officers of the Lon Nol regime? Were any instructions issued to that effect? Answer, I was not aware of that. because there was a slogan to the effect that the feudalists, capitalists, and revisionists had to be destroyed. Up until their extinction, and after that slogan was bandied about, that operation was carried out. Question: how was that operation conducted? Was it personnel of the office who brought people to the district, or was militias from the district who went to fetch them in the communes? Answer: the commune officials were not aware of that. As a matter of fact, it was the district soldiers who had received lists of names of persons, and it was the district soldiers who would go and arrest those who had to be arrested and sent to the commune. Question: you made mention of lists. So people were identified according to lists. Who drew up those lists of former Lon Nol officers and civil servants? Answer: as regards the drawing up of those lists, it was the youth leader in the district who was in charge of that. When he discovered that X was an officer, X or Y was an officer, he would send a report to the district anchor, and the district anchor would forward such reports to the province, and so on and so forth. The person's name would be marked red, and then the district officer would send that name to district soldiers who would then go to arrest the person in question. Question? I would like to read out to you one or two reports sent by some communes, some commune officials at the time. I wouldn't expect you to try to read the document because it would be very complicated. Let me take an example, E3/2048. The Khmer page is 00079-089. In English, 00276562-63, and in French, it is 00611659. This is a report by Ye Bun. We referred to him a while ago. He is from Chengtong Commune, addressed on the 30th of April 1977 to the district Angkar in Tramkak district. This is what the report states, and I quote: regarding the situation of the enemy in my base, after receiving the recommendations, the successive recommendations of Angkar regarding vigilance against the enemy and the cleaning up of the enemy consisting of officers, we have monitored, examined, and identified the following persons. Free translation. And this report makes mention of the names and ranks of former Lon Nol soldiers. In the same document, still E3/2048, 2 pages later in Khmer, it is 00079-091. In English, 00276564, and in French, 00611664. And that is on page 4. It is another report by someone in Tapem commune sent during the same period, 28th of April 1977, and it reports that the commune had, and I quote, after having received the recommendations of the party, examined and cleaned up enemies who were officers, end of quote, free translation. I can give you many other examples of reports issued in 1977. These reports are on record. According to these reports, mention is made of recommendations of the party. Did you ever hear that recommendations from the district were sent to the commune regarding the arrest of those officers? The President. Witness, wait a while. Council Consamon, please proceed. Council Consamon. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to comment on the prosecution's findings. The prosecution says that this is a document by Yebun, whereas Yebun testified before this chamber, and he stated that that document was not by him. At the bottom of that document, all he said was evident was the fact that his name was on it, but he didn't say that he was the author of that document. And that is document E3/2048. Mr. President, I thank you. Prosecution. This has nothing to do with the status of the document. It was a report which was presumably established by Byrne from Chintong Commune. Ye Byrne did not say that it was a forgery. All he said was that he didn't sign that document. Mr. Witness, it would appear, according to this document, that the communes were aware of that procedure of identifying and arresting Lon Nol officers. Did the communes receive recommendations from the district to that effect? Answer. The district received instructions from the provincial Ankar, and so afterwards the province would issue instructions to the district officials, and the district officials would forward them to the commune. There was no top-down relationship. It was from the bottom to the top. Prosecution. Question. When you talk of province, are you referring to Sector 13? Should I understand that when you talk of province, you are referring to the Southwest Zone? Answer. Yes, I was referring to Sector number 13. Very well, says the prosecution. Let us press on. Regarding evacuees from Phnom Penh and elsewhere who found themselves in Tramkok district. Generally speaking, do you know whether discipline was stricter for these evacuees, notably the former Lon Nol soldiers, compared to the base people? Answer, no. They were treated the same way, that is, the two categories of people were treated in the same way, that is, they enjoyed the same rights, They had to respect one another, and so on and so forth. Question: I do not understand what you mean by the same rights. What rights did the people have during the Khmer Rouge period? Did the inhabitants, whether they were new people or base people, have the right to move about freely? Answer: we were on the same footing. We did not have the right to move about freely. We had to carry earth we had to plant trees. We had to go out and work, return and have lunch. You couldn't look at one another with contempt. Quite obviously, there were people who were monitoring everyone, watching everyone, but we all had to love one another. Question: was it not rather a question of having the same obligations as opposed to having the same rights? President: wait a moment, witness. Counsel Kong Samon, please proceed. Counsel Kong Samon: I object to the question put to the witness by the co-prosecutor. It is as if he is drawing his own conclusions and testifying, so I object to such a question. Prosecution: Mr. President, I asked the question on the basis of the answer the witness gave earlier. He said we had to live together and we had to be subject to the same monitoring. That is why I drew the conclusion that it was more a question of obligations than rights. Can I ask the question, Mr. President? President? The objection is well founded. So, witness, do not answer the question. Deputy co-prosecutor, please rephrase your question or move into another line of questioning. Question: did ordinary people under the Khmer Rouge regime in Tramkop district have the right to speak freely, to criticize the regime, to criticize the food that was given to them, and to say that they were not in agreement with the orders that were given to them? Answer: you had to keep your mouth shut. The rice gruel we had was very light. Sometimes it was only water and you couldn't complain about what you were given. If you complained, you would be led away immediately and considered as an opponent of the cooperative. Question: this is what Yebun said in the record of his interview, E319/12.3.2 in answer 120. I will quote what he said in English.
That the new people were no good. They were the enemy and were not as valuable as the old people. Thus, they were not allowed to marry the old people. End of quote. Est-ce que vous avez entendu?
Did you hear, during the period following the evacuation of towns and subsequently, that the party mistrusted the 17 April people because they were enemies, as Yebun pointed out? Answer: I saw all that with my own eyes. The base people kept watch over them in order to lead them away and kill them. In any case, people were treated in more or less the same way. People watch over one another, whether they were people from Phnom Penh or the base people. So the policy was applicable to both the new people and the base people. At any point in time in Tramkak district, was the population split into categories? In other words, were people placed under such categories as full rights persons, or categories of candidates, with the base people being affiliated, and the categories of the evacuees, that is the 17th April people? Did you hear of such categorization? Answer: I was told that I had undesirable tendencies, and that my category was undesirable. As of March 1975, people were categorized into poor peasants, middle class workers, upper middle class. All these categories were a function of the different the status of the different people. The feudalists did not belong to the same category. My parents were implicated on the basis of their initial affiliation. The rich and the bourgeoisie were also viewed very negatively, very unfavorably, and they were led away and executed. So in each village, since there were so many executions, there wasn't even a dog left to bark at people passing.
I'll get back to the expression you used earlier on, or that Com used often, which means that everyone opposing the will of history would be crushed. So with you, I'm going to try to determine who were the opponents to the regime and what was the fate meted out to them. You said earlier on that it was impossible to criticize, to complain about the food. Otherwise, one would be considered a dissident to the cooperative. So could you tell me what were the other offenses that would explain that someone would be accused of being a dissident?
Let me give you an example. In 1973, there was an old woman who was a cousin to Tamok, and Tamok was in office 160 in the forest. And Yekom knew that this Egyptian was a bit stingy, and she wants to borrow a horse cart. And then she said that Yekom should return within a month. But Yekom failed to do that, so she went to Yekom's house to locate the horse cart. Later on, she was arrested, and she was walked away, about to be executed. And then Tamok came across and said why she was arrested and to be killed. And then it was told that she was an enemy. And Tamok said, how could you arrest an enemy with your bare hand? So let unscaffold her. And when she was unscaffolded, Tamok saw his cousin there, and then he blamed the people who made the arrest of his cousin. And that is a story about being stingy and not to let go of the horse cart that she owned at the time to the cooperative.
Well, fine. I'm going to try to get back to the periods that concerns us the most, that is to say is from 75 to 79, because the example you gave me seems to be a very special example of a cousin. So I'd rather speak about the normal, ordinary people. And maybe let's base ourselves on what Ye Bun said in her written record of interview E319/12.2.3. And she said the following at answer 91 in part, and in answer 147, and I will quote in English.
Quote, answer 91. The upper echelon instructed us on who the enemies were, and I took those instructions back to the villages. They told us to seek out the opposition. Answer 147. The ones who damaged materials walked around to entice others and impact Ankar by words, or opposed Ankar, or used trickery, were regarded as serious criminals. End of quote.
Do Ye Bun's statements correspond to what you noticed with regard to the definition of the opponents to the regime between 1975 and 1979?
President, witness, please wait, and Counsel Kong Som-on, you have the floor. Kong Som-on, thank you, Mr. President. I do not really have a strong objection to this question, and Ji Eun already testified before the chamber, and for that reason, her testimony is of a better probative value rather than to quote her previous interviews and put to this witness, or rather to refer to her previous interviews by the OCIJ investigators. Thank you.
Monsieur le témoin.
Witness, then I will add an example for things to be more clear to you. Ye Bun said during the hearing that thieving plates or pottery belonging to the cooperative in order to bury them was a serious offense. She said that last Monday at around 3:30 in the afternoon. I also read out what she said. That is to say that those who would destroy or damage the tools, or those who would encourage others to rise up, those who would use cunning, were considered criminals, heavy criminals. Do you agree with this statement?
Yes, that is very true. That's what happened. And that created the conflicts within the cooperatives.
I will get back to the distinction between light and heavy offenses later. There is a question I am asking myself because we often hear people speaking about communes, bringing in people who have been arrested at the district level. So do the communes have a cell to detain on a temporary basis people who had been arrested before transferring them to the district.
The communes did not have any authority to arrest and detain anyone. If there was any issue, then the report would be made to the district, and it was up to the district to proceed with the arrest of that individual, and the individual would be arrested and detained at the re-education center.
Yes. Did the district sometimes ask the commune, or the commune militiamen, to arrest people on their own and then to bring these people to the district? Of course, so the decision was the district's remit, but the actual implementation was done by the commune.
Yes, that's how it worked.
Bien.
Fine, I'm going to try to use a document with you, and I hope you have a certain number of documents right next to you, and that there's someone right next to you who can help you find your way through the documents. And the documents I'd like you to look at is document E3/4120. E3/4120. Is there anyone next to you who can assist you in finding this document, witness?
Yes. President, the visual staff, could you please assist the witness to locate the document as indicated by the deputy co-prosecutor? Visual staff. Yes, Mr. President, I located the document and I'm now taking it out for the witness examination.
Alors, la page.
The page you need to show him is page 00270983. It's the left-hand page, because there are two pages next to each other here. So 00270983 in French, 00623344. English, 003222175. Would it also be possible to display this document on the screen, Mr. President? The Khmer version of this document, of course.
Yes, you can proceed with that.
Bien, je vais.
Fine, I'm going to summarize part of this document. So this report was sent by Hun, K-H-U-N, Kun, from Sreironom commune. And this document describes the arrest and the sending to the police for questioning of a new person. This new person had allowed ducks to go into rice fields 3 times. And then there is a paragraph that I'm going to quote, which states the following: "We would like to inform the party that on 4th January 1977, there are other members of the New People who are opposing Ankar and the party. Thus, I will arrest them and send them up successively." End of quote. In this document, witness, the word "sending to the police for investigation is mentioned. So this meant sending people exactly where? Was it the district police? And what did the district police exactly represent? Where exactly were the people sent in order for them to be questioned?
I cannot read it.
Est-ce que vous avez entendu la question?
Did you hear the question? Can you answer, or do you need more time?
Please repeat your question, as I was unclear on the question you put last.
Yes. In the document, Kuhn says that he is sending a new person to the police to be investigated, to be questioned. So can you explain what the police was in this case? Was it the district office? Was it the security office at the district level? What does he mean by sending to the police exactly?
President witness, please wait. And Nunchi's counsel, you have the floor. Counsel for Nunchi, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to object to this question. In the Khmer documents, there is no word anywhere which mentioned police.
Fine. Maybe it's an issue of translation, because in French and in English it is said that he was sent to the police for examination. Mr. Witness, I will reformulate my question. When a commune would arrest someone, to whom exactly was this arrested person sent to? Was this person sent to the district militia or to a special office?
That is true that when a person was arrested, it would not be sent to Angka at the district. The person would be sent to the forest. There would be no trial of that person, and the person never returned.
Fine. Another question with regard to this document. Do you remember Kuhn, this Kuhn from Srainaronong commune? And what were his duties?
Kuhn in Srainaronong commune was the chief of that commune.
Est-ce que vous savez?
Do you know if at any given moment if he was purged?
No.
I was in another commune which was far from the district's office, and I only knew sometimes he went to attend meetings at the district office.
Fine. Now I'm going to react to an answer you gave to the co-investigating judge. Document E319 17.1.32. Questions and answers 17, 18, and 19. And I'm going to read out what the investigators asked you at question 17. Did the commune chief had the power to arrest people? Your answer: the commune chiefs did not have that power. Only the district units would arrest people, day and night, in fact. Free translation. Following question, question 18. Did the commune level have the responsibility to report to the district level? Answer: yes. They gave information to the district level, for example, on who had committed moral offenses. However, they had not right to arrest them. Question 19. How did the commune level and district level communicate with each other? Answer: they reported lists of people. If anyone's name was circled in red ink ping, district level would come to get the person. If anyone's name was circled with blue ink ping pen, commune level would take the person to the district level. End of quote. So in relation to what you said just before, that people who were arrested by the communes were directly sent to the forest, here you rather said that names circled in blue were arrested by the commune, and the commune would then bring them to the district. Can you confirm that indeed people whose names had been circled in blue were given to the district by the communes?
Yes, that is correct. For those with their names circled in blue will be sent by the commune to the district. And the district would get Mace and his unit to send them further to the re-education office. The person would not be beaten or tortured. And these are the people who probably slept with someone else's wife, and they will be sent for re-education.
Well, fine. What I would like to focus on is when people would have their names circled in red and when would people have their names circled in blue. At what level was that done? Was it the initiative of the cooperatives or of the communes, or was it the district or the sector that would do that?
After the commune conducted an investigation into a person and whether that person had a political tendency or was a former CIA agent or a UN spy, then the commune would report it to the district. The district would then circle it in red ink and send it back to the commune. And that would mean to let the commune know in the afternoon the military from the district would come down to the commune to arrest that individual or person. And as I said, once such a person was arrested, he would not be sent to any office but to the forest and killed.
Fine. There is a slight contradiction that I would like to look at with you. In your last written record of record E319/8.2.4, at answers 23 and 24, which I'm going to read out, you said the following in English. you said, well, in Khmer, but it was translated into English.
Were decided at the provincial sector levels. Then the province or sector sent the plans to districts, and the districts relayed the plans to communes. Question 24. Can you explain to us whether orders related to arrests or decision to kill came from the province or sector? And you said, answer 24, yes, that's right. For instance, the province sent reports with the names of the people to be arrested, annotated in red ink, to districts. Then the districts would send the reports to the communes. Then the communes would arrest the people whose names were annotated in red ink. Finally, the arrestees would be sent to Ye Com. End of quote.
So here, in your written record of interview, you added an extra level. You said that, in fact, it was a sector that made the decisions. So who took these decisions, the sector or the district? And who circled names in red ink?
First, the commune would conduct the investigation whether the person was a former KGB or CIA spy. Then the name would be circled in blue and sent from the commune to the district. Then the district would forward the name or the list of names to the sector, and not for long, the list would be returned to the commune, and that name would be circled in red, and then the district soldiers would come to the commune to arrest the person, and the person would not be sent to any office, but to the forest to be executed.
Fine. Do you know in which forest people were executed? Was there a special forest for that?
The area where they sent to Angka Kom's house was about 200 meters from Krang Tachan's office, and the area was called Prey Khmao Kon Khmeng. And it was to the west of the road, and to the east it was the Krang Tachan, and next to it was an area of forest called Prey Long. People who were implicated due to political tendencies will be sent there to be executed, that is, to be killed at the Prey Khmao Kon Khmeng. And later on, the skeleton remains from the Prey Khmao Kon Khmeng forest were gathered and stored at the Krang Tachan site.
Fine. Can you tell me if you know if these people, the dissidents, were questioned before being executed?
That area was not an interrogation area. There was no trial, there was no court. If people were arrested and sent there, that would be the end of it.
Before the co-investigating judges, you said that the lists in which the names were circled in red and in blue came before you. This is at answer 26 of your written record of interview E319/8.1.4, and you said that you had seen or that you knew that these reports had been produced by the sector, and apparently you found such reports in baskets in the Commerce Office of Tram Kok districts. So can you explain to us in which circumstances exactly you saw these lists with the names circled in red or in blue?
The reports that were sent from other sections to the district office, after they were read, then they would be placed into the basket. And people who smoked would sometimes get the paper for their tobacco. And that's the case that I saw those lists or reports. And the commune would send a report to the district would send it further to the province, and later on it was sent back down, and it was the district soldiers who would conduct the arrest.
Très bien.
Fine. You mentioned a certain number of District 105 chiefs. You spoke about Kom, and also about Takchim and Takit, Takchai, and finally, you spoke about Tassan. You also spoke about Teacher Uch. And when the successive chiefs of District 105 would issue orders to the communes, were the commune chiefs allowed to not obey and to not follow the instructions?
No, the person did not dare. They would accept every instruction from the upper echelon. And these people, the person came to take control of the district office, which they burned in 1977 already, after Tachim had left.
Est-ce qu'il en était de même entre...
Was the same also true of the sectors and the districts? Did the district have to obey instructions regarding policies that were passed down to it from Sector 13? Mr. President, could the witness start answering the question because we didn't press the right button?
Est-ce que vous avez eu l'occasion
Did you have the opportunity to attend meetings at the level of the district and the sector or General Assembly meetings? Did that happen to you? Answer: never. I was only a simple inhabitant, and that assembly and meetings were to be attended by officials. When open meetings were held, they only talked of objectives that had to be attained and tasks that had to be carried out immediately. Question: mention was made of serious offenses and minor offenses. How were the district officials or commune chiefs able to determine whether a particular conduct or offense was serious or minor? Do you know whether they had criteria for determining whether an offense was minor or serious? Minor offenses included, for instance, the fact of throwing crockery, that's pots and pans, into the water, and people considered as opponents were members of the KGB or the CIA, and for such people there was no need to interrogate them, and there was no need for a decision from the sector level. The district itself would undertake to arrest such people. Question: was refusing to work considered as a minor offense or a serious offense? And how many times did you have to refuse to work in order for such an offense to be considered as serious? Answer: regarding crafts or all such work was considered as light work, and if you didn't do such work, you were called a lazy person, and people who committed light sentences were considered as pretenders. They did not have to treat them. Were people accused of being lazy or pretending, deprived of food sometimes? I do not understand your question. I didn't hear your question. Could you please repeat the question? No problem, says the prosecutor. I was referring to persons who did not carry out their work, who were accused of being lazy, or people who were accused of pretending to be sick in order not to work. Were such people sometimes deprived of food? Answer: those who pretended to be ill in order not to have to go out and work were people who had kinship ties with the district officials. They were often group heads or unit heads, and they told the members of their groups and units to go and work themselves. And they stayed at home. They were ill. They complained to their family members who were in a position of strength. Question: regarding the base people or ordinary people, they dared not say that they were ill. Is that what you want us to believe, to understand? Answer: no. However, regarding those who were ill, their parents would go and ask for permission from the canteen or the heads of the cooperatives. And they were heard saying in the refectory and to the head of the canteen that their parents were ill, and they would take their food rations back to their parents at home who are ill. Question: outside passage E319.12.2 and answer 48. It's the record of interview of Ye Bun. He refers to 2 situations in which food was stolen. This is what he states in English.
148. Theft due to hunger was a minor crime. Secondly, frequent theft, which was more serious, was reported to me by the lower level. For the second point, the perpetrators would be arrested, and some of them were seen returning, while others were never seen again. End of quote. Est-ce que vous êtes d'accord avec...
Do you agree with Ye Bun when she says that to steal once because one was hungry was a minor offense, but to steal frequently became a serious offense? No, I do not agree with her, because in District 105, perpetrators of such offenses like stealing cassava or other foodstuff were not punished. I saw everyone doing such things, so I cannot agree with Byrne. Prosecution. Mr. President, if we were to go on break, I think this would be the right time. President, the time has come for us to take a break up to 3 p.m. So we will resume at 3 p.m. Mr. Eichhorn, beg your pardon, we are taking a break now. You should be back in the courtroom at 3 p.m. in order for us to resume the proceedings. Thank you, says the President.